Hey everybody, Pastor Bill here. Today we're going to wire a cord reel box in my garage. Watch and see how I did it. So on my one over here, on this side of the garage, you notice I have it hardwired into the box. But on the other side, I have a plug on it. Now I can cut that plug off, or I can put a receptacle on it. So for today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount this device ring, which is made for receptacles or light fixtures or stuff like that, that has the same pattern that'll bolt up to it, ceiling fans, but it's designed for sheetrock or paneling or something like that, and adding your receptacle to it. So what we're going to do is mount this receptacle on this device ring and put it up on that box. The key is I got two circuits up in that box. My red wire is for my cord reel, which we're installing today. The black wire is going down the wall, and it's going to hit 3 receptacles on the wall on that side of my garage. So we're going to before we put this on, we got to shove a white wire, black wire, and a green wire down that pipe into the next box. The key is knowing which wire goes for this and which wire goes to the receptacles on the wall. And we'll wire those up too. Maybe not on this one, but we're gonna wire the one up there. It's on a separate circuit. We just gotta figure out which wire in the panel is the one that goes to the cord reel boxes. Should be easy. Whichever one makes it hot, that's the one it is. All right, let's do this thing. All right, so here's my device ring. Here's my receptacle and a plate that I have. I'm gonna take the plate off. The plate's only held on by one screw, dead in the center. And now we're gonna add the wires to the device. In a single phase panel box, which is wired kind of commercial like, you got 2 hots, a red and a black. One for one leg, one for the other. So I know that circuit is on the red, so we're gonna use the red wire and not a black wire. That's gonna make it easier when you wire up the box up in the top. So I'll cut it to about 7 inches, because you want 6 inches hanging out the box, they say. Strip it. And this one's kind of faded out, but your little one is your hot, your little side. Usually these are a different color, but this one is not. So if you take your wire and hook it right to the edge, you can twist it around. This is an electrician trick sometimes. Twist it around. And what you don't want is your insulation up inside your thing. You want it below that. And you can take your screwdriver and tighten it up. So your little hole is your hot wire. If not, most of your screws will be different colored. One will be a bronze looking color and the other one will be a silver color. Do the same thing to your neutral wire, about 7 inches or so. Strip it. Do the same thing, just hook it around, just like that. If you're not comfortable by doing that, I'll show you the other method. You also got to get the other method. I'll show you how to do it on the green wire manually. So you take your, strip it, take the tip right on the end, just twist it around. And on your screw, put it in. And what I like to do, especially on these screws that are a little bit smaller, is take and pinch them right around like that. That way they don't back off and flop and touch something hot in the box. Then tighten it down. If you got screws that are up, put them in the down position. That's how it's supposed to be done. So one of the things I also want to show you is the direction the wire is on here. So when it's tightening up, it's not allowing the wire to come loose. It's pulling the wire around. You'll notice all my wires and screws are going in the same direction. When you tighten it, it's tightening the wire around it. That helps prevent the wires from coming undone. Also, I like taking a little bit of electric tape, especially when you're using your mud rings here that are in the metal boxes. Just a little bit safe, because there's a lot of exposed hot surfaces here where your wire nuts and everything are covering up your hot surfaces inside the box. There's no secret to it. You just take a little bit of electric tape. And you gotta go under the screws, don't go over the screws. I can't tell you, I've done it. Taping around, and you go around the screw, and then you gotta take it apart again to get the device on the device ring. Going around it, making sure you're going under the screws. Get at least 2 turns on there. Now, you don't have to do this. This is not code. It's just a little bit of extra safety. It's better to be safe than sorry. There it is. So now these surfaces are covered when you mount them in your box, and you're not gonna zap yourself. So now what I like to do is find my drill. All right, found my drill, my impact. And usually when I'm using longer screws, I don't use a screwdriver. I use my impact driver. Get it straight. Don't try to drive them in there crooked. If you notice it gets tight, back it off and try it again. Like that. There it is. Screws to the outside, not the inside. Now, before we even go up on the ladder, we're going to strip these wires here. Just to be on the safe side, a good rule is to know what color your wires and what they do. Your black wire in home electricity or commercial electricity is always hot. Your red wire is always hot, always. Your white wire is your neutral, but it is also a load-carrying wire. It can be hot in a circuit. When you undo a circuit and the circuit is live, the trailing end of this wire could be hot, looking for a neutral source or a ground source. Your ground wire is never supposed to be hot. If it is hot, then you got something shorted out in your electrical system. It's only a safety device to give the load a place to go. You don't wire your light switches to the ground. I've seen many people do that, just thinking, well, I'm gonna do that just to get this light working because mine neutral. You need to go to your next box, open it up, the one's in chain heading back towards your load center, and find out where you lost your neutral. It's important that you do that because it's safety. And safety is important when you work with electricity, because electricity can cause fires and can also shock the heck out of you. If not, if it goes through your one arm into the next, it's gonna go right through your heart, and you don't want your heart to stop. All right, so before I can mount the receptacle to the box up here, what I need to do, we'll take a quick look. We'll take a quick look at this box up here, and you'll see that there's wires already coming out this box. And there's a red wire, a black wire, a green wire, and 2 neutral wires. So one circuit is taped together, so I'll know which neutral is what. That way we're not crossing up our neutrals and getting a floating neutral. You also notice that there's a ground screw already in the box. We need to tie that ground to the green wire that's coming out the leading edge of the box. That's the correct way. It's not saying that it's wrong to do it the other way, but it is the correct way. That's the Pastor Bill's way of doing it. And if you're doing it Pastor Bill's way, you're doing it the right way. But there's an empty pipe on this side over here. I can't really see it. Let me scrunch you down here for you. There's an empty pipe that's coming from this side, going down the wall, and comes out in a box there. I got to get a black wire, a green wire, and a white wire through that box. And that's a 110-foot stick plus about 10 inches of pipe on the end. And you see there's a little bit with a coupler. It's not secured to the wall yet because I still got to do some other stuff in here before I can mount that to the wall. So when you're running wires through a conduit rather than wires in a wall, there's different methods of doing it. So because the wires you're running in the conduit don't have a jacket on it. The conduit is the jacket. So this is a wire caddy, and you buy your wire in spools. It's cheaper and more efficient to do it that way. Plus you can get multiple circuits in a pipe. Matter of fact, quite a few pipes. In the one circuit I have up here that runs the lights, there's 3 circuits in that pipe. 3, 4, 5 circuits in that pipe, including the 220 for the lift. So that's a lot of circuits. But there's still, I still have room for, no, that one's, I think, is at max fill. Anyways, there's a little secrets to it. So we know that the pipe is going down the wall 10 feet. This is just a little electrician secret. When you're pulling wire, is instead of shoving this and leaving this, you can just pull off the exact length you need. Put your 3 colors you're going to use together, and you can go 2 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, 10 foot, And you want at least 9 feet, but we got 8 inches of coming out. So let's go another, at least 18 inches to 2 foot. Cut it off. That's going to give me enough coming out the box on each end to make my connections. Because you want at least 6 inches of wire, according to code, out the box to make your connection. I don't know what I did with my electrical tape. It's in this pocket. So now we got to get this wire down that pipe. So if you shove them all together like this, you might run into a little bit of a problem. And the problem is these sharp ends can catch on corners and stuff like that, connectors, pipes where they're connected together. So what I like to do is I take my green wire and I just kind of put a little loop on it. Put a little loop in my life. La, 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 la. I don't want to use too much of the wire because I didn't give a lot of excess. Wire's expensive these days. Just put a little thing on it, and you can come down about 2 inches and just tape all 3 wires together. There's quite a few different tricks or methods. I've seen guys tape pennies to them or a little wad of paper. But just making a little loop with your wire. Then taping your existing wires together. And now it allow you to push that pipe, push the wire through the pipe and come out the box on the other side. So. Make sure your ladder's stable. Kick down. Hopefully it got on video. All right, before we go touching these wires, what are we supposed to do? Take your hot stick and check it. My hot stick is hot, it works. I tested it on the panel or on a hot circuit, and we're gonna run it on the wires. If it makes a beep noise, I don't know if I can get it on this or not. If it makes that noise, you know you got a problem. All right, so we know that these circuits are off. We can move it out of the way. You see here, I also made my green wire with the loop in it when I pushed it the other way. These are all my other circuits. So we're going to take this, just slide it down the pipe. On short poles, you don't need to use a fishtail. Just push it through. Make sure it doesn't poke you in the eye. I may have it too short. I got 6 inches hanging out the box now. And it's just hanging out the box there. Let me show you. All right, so right over here is the box, and you can see my tape, and let me focus it on that box, and I'll zoom you up on it. So there's my looped wire, and my ends are inside there. So my wire is too short. I cut it too short. I've shown you my cool method, and my wires are gonna be too short. So I'm gonna pull it out, shove another one through. I know what I did. I know what I did. That's my bad. If you go back and review the thing, I think I just clicked off 8 feet plus 18 inches. And I should have clicked off 10 feet plus 18 inches. My bad, mad bad. Here I was showing you a good trick of how to count off the wire. Let's do this again. It's okay, I'll use that wire from my circuit that comes over here to my grinder. I'm not gonna waste any. So, and I wanna run the pipe going the other way too, over towards the other side of my toolboxes. So I'm gonna use that wire. Let's do this. We do it right because we do it twice. All right, let's try this again. 2, 4, 6, 8. And that's what I did last time, and I went 18 inches more. Now we're gonna go 10, plus the little mountain of the extra little piece of pipe, plus 6 inches, which is 12. So it'll be about 18 inches, right? Or yeah, something like that. About 2 foot. Now we'll make the cut. Again, we're gonna do the same thing. Take my green wire, fold it, and tape these wires together and go up there and fix my mess up. Hey, everybody makes mistakes. At least this one I didn't waste a bunch of wire. I'm reusing it. That's gonna be on another episode. Now we're ready to push it again. All right, let's pull the other wires back out. Put the new ones back in. And there's a green screw right here in the box. So what I do is I take my finger, take it straight over to that ground screw. I figure out where it's at. I take my strippers, put it on the 12 gauge wire, and pull it down. And I strip it about 1 inch. Then I take it and put it around that screw and take my needle nose into my strippers and clamp that wire around that screw. Then take a screwdriver or a screw gun and drive that baby home. Making sure that your tail end of your wire is wrapped around it in such a way that it's not going to back off or loosen the screw. So first thing we want to do is, now we got our ground wire, we want to connect all our wires that we're going to pass through this box and get them put away. I'm going to leave my ground wire to last because we're going to use that on the circuit we're making for this cord reel. So first things, I want to do my neutral wire. I'm going to cut both wires. I'm going to pull the neutral wire over to the other one inside the box, then pull it down and cut it at the same. Strip them both the same, about 5/8 of an inch, ½ inch. I like it a little bit longer because it shortens up when you. Now some of you guys will say, hey, you can just use one neutral and tie them all together. No, in household stuff, you're supposed to keep your neutrals separated. It's a good rule to learn. Then take that neutral and tidy it up in the box nice and neat in loops. Do the same thing with the black wire. Take the wire, take it up over to the other one. Come down, clip both wires off the same. About 5/8 of an inch to a ½ inch. Strip it. Take your Kleins, lineman's pliers. Grab the wires firmly with one hand and twist them. And you want to see at least 3 complete twists, not 3 twists with 3 complete turns. I'll show you that when we're done here with 2 scrap pieces of wire. Now my circuit that is passed through down to the wall for my wall outlets down below for my grinder, a bench circuit, and a circuit down here is going to be safely disconnected from this other circuit, because you don't want your whole garage on one outlet. That's not copacetic. All right, so now we're going to take the green wire and do the same thing, except we're not going to put the wire nut on it yet, because now we're about ready to hook up our outlet. Take our 2 hots, cut them off together. Our neutral and our red wire, hot wire. Get them all stripped, so you should have 4 wires hanging there now. 2 greens, a neutral, and a hot. Let me go get my stuff here, and we'll wire this thing up. Please stand by. So at this point, I brought everything up that I'm going to need. I got our outlet that we already wired up to and hooked up to our device ring, and I got the wall outlet in place. A lot of people say, well, why are you putting this on there? You put tape on it and everything else. If I was using an RS cover, then I would say, yeah, you'd be right. But I'm not using an RS cover up here in the ceiling. I'm using a device ring. And if you're using a device ring, then you need to put a cover around this outlet. So now what we're going to do is simply match up our colors. We're going to start with the green first. Take your 2 greens that are already in the box. Get these other wires out of my way. Twist all 3 wires together. Same method, 3 complete twists. Now this sucker is ready to go in the box. So what I do is I take all 3 wires, since we put them together, kind of twist them together so they're nice and neat in the box. One of the signs of a good electrician is their box is nice and neat. And you'll see that there's a direction of the twist. Take your device ring and kind of go the same method. So it wraps up in there also. Helps if the screw is out far enough. Take your cover plate. That part's done. Plug your cord reel in. Now we can test the circuit on the cord reel. But before we do that, what we want to do is put a wire nut on the black wire that's coming out that box. So if we energize the wrong wire, we don't want to energize we want to make sure that that's safe on the other end. It's a good point to make. That wire off and just put that on there, and that's going to keep this safe. All right, so here we are at the load center, and I got 2 black wires, and over on my bench I got my cord reel with my hot stick in it turned on. So what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly take your wire stripper and strip the 2 ends off at the correct heights. And what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to touch it on the bus bar. That's what I'm going to do. What you should do is hook it to the breaker, or we can test it on the breaker too. We'll turn the breaker. This is the circuit that's going to be on. We'll turn that breaker on. All right, let's test this again. Breaker on. Wire. Hear it? Hear it? So this is my hot wire. And this one is the one that's going to be going for my other circuit that we're not working on yet. So we're going to take this one and roll it up out of the way so we don't accidentally hook it to the... Now we'll hook this one to the breaker over here. That's my 15 amp circuit. And I'm going to take it, run it down across the bottom. Come around, come up, nice and neat. We'll tuck these behind there so they're nice and neat there too. Make sure your breaker is off. Back your screw out. Get your wire neatly snug up in there behind the clamping device. And pull a little tug on it, make sure it ain't coming loose. That circuit's ready. Now, before we start using it, we're gonna use a bug-eyed circuit tester on it. So these circuit testers here only tell you it's a hot stick. It only tells you if the circuit's hot. Doesn't tell you if the circuit is wired correctly. So these are a bug-eyed circuit tester, and when you simply plug it in, if you got 2 yellow lights, it tells you that it's right. My cord reel is ready to go. I got something wrong with my other cord reel. But as for this one, it's working. Ready to use. I gotta check that other one out. All right, that's gonna be it for this episode of Fixing Things with Pastor Bill. Be safe. Check your circuits. Make sure you get, if you're gonna work on electricity, these 2 things are a necessity for checking your circuits. Some devices will work if it's wired backwards. Some devices will burn up if you wire them backwards. So make sure they're wired right. Make sure they're hot. Make sure everything is working. Hey, if these videos are helping you in any way, or you find them helpful, like and subscribe. I sure would appreciate it. Remember, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God bless each and every one of you.